There's absolutely no reason at this moment to pay developers to write code. That is an absolute waste of money. The technology is there. Hey, welcome to Velocity Lab. I'm Dave.
And I'm Dan. And today we're going to talk about how to adopt in the era of AI.
Yeah.
Man, it's been, I think every 3-6 months, my career changes again. I don't know.
Yeah. I said this to one of our clients, and I gave him a TLDR, and I said, there's absolutely no reason at this moment to pay developers to write code. That is an absolute waste of money. The technology is there, and it doesn't matter. We have a client that's a one-person startup and a Fortune 500. They're both coding autonomously, right? So there is no org that's too big or too small. There are only organizations that are behind. And if you are a CEO and a CTO and you are paying your developers to write code, you're wasting money. So what does that mean for you as a developer, as an individual contributor, working for a company, a big startup or small company, big company? What does that mean for your career? Because think about this.
Well, first of all, not writing code does not mean that you're not engineering. So let's just clarify that.
Yeah. You absolutely, as a software engineer, are incredibly valuable, and no company can live without you.
However, and honestly, the real task for me now is, can I keep up with all the code that AI is writing? How do I do that?
Yeah.
How do I build the confidence that the code AI is writing is good enough?
Yeah. Absolutely, dude. But that's the whole point. We would not tell our clients, we would not tell the CEO of a company we're working for that you need to start coding autonomously if we didn't think you could produce high quality code.
Yeah, we're not saying, hey, fire all your engineers and just have your PMs write PRs.
Yeah, no, we're not saying that. No, but let's get back to developers. So here's the deal, developers. Developers, as of right now, July of 2026, you are no longer getting paid to write code anymore. That is over with. But that's not a threat. That's a fact you need to plan around. And it's better news than it sounds. And here's why it's better news than it sounds. Part of your job, of everyone's job, and more of a senior, like a junior developers, you kind of you get a ticket, you code it, right?
Yeah.
But now everyone's job is to plan, and then it codes autonomously, and then you review, right? So it's giving everyone the chance to kind of level up.
And maybe test it.
And test it. But it's giving everyone a chance to step up. So before it was like senior or staff or principals, they would do the planning, right? Now it's your chance to step up and be in that planning phase. Because if you think your job is still to code, that is not true anymore. And this is July of 2026, right? So it's very early, but again, we work for a Fortune 500 company and a one-person startup. They're both coding autonomously. So like developers, you need to step up your game or change your game. But to be clear, you are still software engineer.
And just because you're only planning and reviewing doesn't mean that you have infinite amount of time to just plan all the time. You still need other folks planning things. Like just yesterday, Dave was like, hey, Dan, can you plan this one up for me? And I was like, no.
I know. What the hell, Dan? Damn, dude. I was like,
I don't have time.
Oh, my God.
You got to plan this.
By the way, for Shipwright, Dan included that he's the architect. So I was like trying to respect Dan and be like, Dan, can you want plans for him? He's like, hell no, I'm too busy.
Who included that?
I get that feedback from my agent a lot. Maybe agents know I'm a dummy and they're like, dude, run that by Dan instead. But yeah, no, so here's the deal, engineers. No one is paying you to type anymore. No one's paying you to look at a terminal. That is over with, right? Now, are you going to spend some time typing? Are you going to spend some time in a terminal? Absolutely, 100%.
I still type a lot. Dave uses voice all the time.
I use voice all the time. That's because I'm lazy. But also, I don't know.
It can be faster. I use voice, but voice to text, then press send on Slack.
Yeah.
So.
But so a couple things for developers, like, here's the truth. No one's paying you to code anymore. And if your company is not autonomously coding now, they're absolutely going to be autonomously coding very soon because people like Dan and I are telling us, the CEOs of these companies, you need to adapt this now. The technology.
And so what do? I'd say you do the same thing that you did before, or that I did before, right? You got to learn how to code with an agent. And so it depends on how your organization works. You, as a junior developer, may still write a plan with an agent. Then a senior developer may review it.
Yep.
Who knows? Just to make sure. But you got to start flexing those muscles. You're the one creating the plan. Senior engineers reviewing it. In fact, this is exactly how we worked at Uber. It was like the flattest 5,000 person engineering org I've ever been in. Everybody wrote their RFCs and their technical design docs, and then it would get reviewed by somebody else until you become the reviewer. And then, so you still need to work your way up to that. And then what do you need to do? You need to figure out, okay, Claude is going to write all this code. Is it breaking? Is it working properly? Claude does not write code without bugs. Humans do not write code without bugs.
Yeah.
So there's still bugs introduced to the system. Now, how do you find those bugs? How do you find them before they escape into production? How do you resolve incidents? You're still doing all of this with Claude Code. It's helping you a lot. But if you don't actually do that, then you're never going to get those skills. So you really need to watch for your Sentry errors. You need to watch for metrics. You need to watch for logs. Or Claude can do it, or PagerDuty can do it. But then when a system alert comes in, you still got to be in the loop. Like,
Yeah.
You're not letting Claude take care of everything. Claude may put up a PR, and then you're like, did this actually fix it? Did it get it right? You have to know about the system also to know if Claude got it right. You have to know, because a lot of times, especially when we're doing migrations right now, we have 3 different ways that work gets done in ShipRite right now.
We have 3 different migrations going on in ShipRite. But by the way,
And
our
Claude
agents
gets
are doing
confused.
let's be honest, our agents doing most of the work, right? We are having to step in once in a while, but when we say we're doing these migrations,
Well, it
it's really,
depends. Our agents maybe are doing, depends. So if coding is the work, then yeah, the agents are doing most of the work,
Yep.
or all of the work, right? But they're coding so much that it's still a lot of work for me to keep up with them, know what's happening.
Yeah,
Even when I plan, this week I planned so much, it's hard for me to keep track of what did I actually queue up, what's still sitting in Slack. It's depending on how much stuff you're queuing up for your agent, you're working a lot. And you can just do things that you didn't want to do. You can ship more products. You can make the system more reliable.
Yep.
I do both that stuff.
Yeah, in the beginning I said the fact you don't have to code anymore, it's better news than you thought. Because here's the deal. You are still a software engineer. That part of your job has absolutely not changed and never will change. You still have to do software engineering. You're simply just not doing the code part. But the reason why I said it's better than it sounds, because every single organization, no matter big or some small, you have some type of task where it's like, hey, we need to create a new API endpoint.
Yeah.
Pretty simple, right? Pretty straightforward. Involves writing some tests, maybe update some documentation, write some code. That stuff, that's just, you just help plan it. It just goes and writes it. Done. That's an easy one. But the nice thing is, because you're not spending as much time on something like that, which is kind of like a mundane task, right? You can spend your time tackling those bigger problems that's been bothering your organization for a long time. Like, why is CI so slow? How come our deployments fail half the time, right? You can start digging into those longer running problems you've had in a long time in your org, because now you have time to fix them, right? Now you have time to dig and discover, right? And it might take 2 days to figure out the root problem, whatever, but now you have that time has been freed up, and now you're tackling even bigger problems for your organization.
We are trying to automate that, though.
Yes, we also are automating that. Yes.
I actually just tweaked our testing framework last night. It was basically trying to parallelize everything all the time for a small project.
Yeah.
I was like, actually, this is going to drain our actions budget. So now it actually looks at how long each step in the workflow takes, decides whether it needs to parallelize it or not based on the time it's already taking, startup time, teardown time, all that stuff. But my engineering background is the way that I knew what to tell Claude to do.
Yep.
But now it's automated. Now it's better. Next thing I find, I'm going to improve it again. We'll see. It's just, you can do so much more and just be proactive about things. Now our agents are just slurping up logs and looking for issues, or they're slurping up the errors that are from Sentry or Datadog. And they're being like, okay, we got to fix this. This is obvious. Oh, we should get a human to look at this one. I don't know what it is. Like all this stuff, you're just managing. I don't want to say you're a manager, because you're not really a manager.
Yep.
Because managing an agent is not like managing a human. You don't have to give it a performance review.
Yeah.
It doesn't talk back to you. Sometimes
It
maybe
does.
Claude
It
gets
does.
a little
Literally, it tells me
snappy.
that Dan's the architect. That is talking back to me. Basically, it's saying, "Hey, Dave, you're an idiot. And run this by Dan instead." Yeah. So listen, just think about this. If you think about it this way, your job was. It's you to say, my job was never really to write code. Code was a byproduct of judgment, right? So now you're still in that judgment phase. What do we build? What to trust? When to stop? That's that judgment layer. And that is still what you're getting paid to do. You're still software engineering. But I think one thing we've noticed in our organization, so we built Shipwright. It's an open source autonomous coding tool, runs your infrastructure. It does all the coding for you. High quality code, not crap. It creates high quality code, runs all the tests, deploys everything for you. But one thing we've noticed is that engineers are not excited about this, right? By the way, there's a commercial version called Devin, which is exactly like it. But
Depends.
Yeah, depends.
There's a group of engineers that are excited about it.
Yeah.
To be sure.
But it's very small. And I think a lot of it's fear-based.
Right now.
Right now. A lot of it's fear-based. But it's
fear
coming.
and trust. Yeah, fear. So it depends. Yeah, maybe it's all fear depending on, but there's multiple things that are maybe creating that fear.
Yeah. Just think about this. Like, here's the way to think about it. No one's paying you to type or sit in front of a terminal. That is over with, right? You are there to plan and review and then set the direction of, hey, let's build this. Should we build this? Why are we building this? Double check that. Like, why do we already have this? You're there for your subject matter expert on the product. You're there because of software engineering best practices, right? Those are the type of things you're still getting paid to do, right? So,
and I think once you trust the system, it's like an easier transition for staff, principal level engineers, maybe senior engineers. Less so for those junior engineers, although you just up level faster, I think, for those junior engineers. It's okay. You just got to shift. And if you're not doing this at work right now, you may want to take on a side project, install Shipwright, ask Shipwright to build something, see what happens, right?
Yep. Yeah. Just go to shipwrightharness.com and it's an open source project. You can just spin up locally and run it. You can actually run task stack up and run the entire stack locally, including the UI and all that stuff. So it's all there for you to use. But I think there is some of course, there's a massive change coming. You don't need to write code anymore. The technology exists right now. It's not AI slop. It's not vibe coding. It's solid engineering best practices. There are two things. Shipwright is one, obviously open source. That's our project. You should dig into that, but you don't want to be behind the curve. You want to be ahead of the curve. Because the bottom line is this change is coming to every single engineering organization. It's going to happen this year.
Yeah.
This year, every company is going to be doing at least some of their code is going to be being coded autonomously. And it's happening.
I'm going to be the first one to say change is hard. This transition is hard for me.
Yeah.
But we're just like, we're doing it. I was talking to my friend the other day, works for an AI lab, and we both said to ourselves, I wish AI didn't happen because I love to code. I love to code.
Yeah.
But it did, and it's the new way. And you need to adopt it. And it's also enabled a ton of things. We wouldn't have this company if it were not for AI. So I shouldn't really be saying that.
Yeah.
But my job, my days of coding are behind me. But it changed. I'm still like a builder. I still get that thrill of building things and seeing, all right, this is an awesome system. This is a shitty system, right? So those truths are still there. You want to build the awesome system. You want to be proud of it. That's where Shipwright comes in, I think.
So I think a couple of things, we talked about this ad nauseum, but like, a couple of things that are going to come out of this. One is that if you're still holding on to the terminal, you need to fix that, or you might be on the outs, just realistically speaking, right? If you're like, oh, I'm gonna keep coding, I don't trust, I don't know, don't do that.
Yeah.
Unless
I get
you want
in
to
the
change
terminal for some things, but not for coding.
Yeah.
For like me investigating our infrastructure.
Yeah.
I'm still in the terminal because I don't want Claude 100% controlling that. So go ahead, delete the database. Yeah. But like for coding, I'm out of the loop. There's no way I'm coding with Claude.
So this is going to sound self-serving, but if I was a software developer today and I was worried about the future, which you should be worried, because even Dan and I, who are at the tip of the spear, we're worried. I'm like, dude, am I going to be a bartender a year from now? By the way, I'd probably be a pretty good bartender. But side point. So here's my advice, and this is self-serving. Go to Shipwright, AppVital Shipwright, the GitHub repository, or shipwrightharness.com, and start using Shipwright. You can use the Shipwright Claude Code plugin locally to get a feel for it, or run task stack up, run the entire stack. So the web UI, the agent, everything will be running, metrics, everything running locally. Or if you have a Kubernetes cluster, install it there, right?
Yeah. Or also find us. Book a discovery call on Shipwright Harness.
Yeah.
We'll help you get set up.
Yeah.
Or for free. Or an hour at a time for free. We'll help you get set up.
Or self-serving announcement number 2. We had somebody open a pull request for Shipwright because it's open source. Play with it. If you find a way to improve it, please do that. Open a pull request. Now you're contributing to pull request. Now you're contributing to Shipwright. You could be jumping on something early that we think is going to be pretty big. All right, that's it.
Yep.
Good luck, engineers. Reach out, man. We're available. We're in the same community, so reach out if you have anything to talk about. Okay, bye.